It was a happy endings ball and there was not one singular cum joke. Hello, welcome in Drag Race fans. My name is Jer. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for all of you who watched the last video. I was kind of gobsmacked, I'll be honest. And I want to say thank you for all the comments and all the likes and just the kind words. I haven't always had the best experience with making content with the Drag Race community. I found that a lot of people have been like really violently angry about my opinions. And they're just my opinions. I did drag for a couple years. I do it infrequently. I'm not like great, but I got a lot of opinions about drag. I have a lot of opinions about the production side of Drag Race. And when I express that, it's not always received very well. So I just want to say thank you for all of you being so kind about the last video. We are in episode 2 of Canada versus the Canada. We are in episode 2 of UK versus the World season 2. Canada. What the hell? So first off, I love a fairy tale episode. We've done a couple of these in Drag Race history. I think it's a really great opportunity to share your creative side. I used to do a lot of pageants and competitions where you get a prompt or a theme and you have to follow through with that, tell that story on the runway. I really enjoy that's what Dragula does, right? There are a lot of great opportunities to share your drag aesthetic, share your creative, twisted mind and fun, whimsical mind. This is an opportunity to really express yourself. And I don't know if everybody did that. So getting into the beginning of the episode, Scarlett is worried about being the only queen left representing the US. And I felt like that was kind of a weird fear because there's one French queen, one Holland queen, one España queen, one Down Under queen, one Filipina queen, Gothy Kendall. So like, I don't know, I thought that was kind of a weird thing to be like, I'm the only US girl, now there's a lot of pressure. But I mean, maybe that was something she was sort of goated to say. We find out that La Grande Dame also chose Mayhem, which was the right decision. Cucking Gothy this early after being out of the race for so long would be super unfair. It'd be like if Pork Chop went to All Stars maybe like 2 and they eliminated Pork Chop. It would just be really unfair because when she started Drag Race, it was so different of a game. When Gothy started, it was such a different experience culturally in the UK for what they were consuming from Drag Race. Obviously, drag existed there, but what they were consuming from the television and what Rue was packaging to them was so different than what it is now. And to send her home without any opportunity to really share that would be super unfair. And Mayhem is on try 3. Mayhem is super hyped up as being the queen of the party, is a really fun performer when she bothers to show up to gigs. Sorry, I don't mean to be so salty about Mayhem. Oh, I feel like I need to actually address this. I would go to gigs and try and book myself at like little amateur pageants and stuff because I knew that May was hosting and I was really excited to try and meet her. This was before she got on Drag Race. And I really wanted to like talk to her about her experience because she's so well known in SoCal for her drag. And I was like, I really want to meet this person. And it's like that adage, like, don't meet your heroes. Cause like she didn't show up to the first 5 that I went to. And then when I finally was able to perform for her, she wasn't really paying attention. She was not engaging with me at all when I tried to talk to her. And I just didn't have a good experience. That's just to clear the air. Like, I don't want it to seem like I'm just some like Mayhem hater or something. Like, I legitimately just did not have a good experience with her in the nightclub. And so her on the show was sort of like meh to me. I'm sure other people have different experiences and mine was unique. Probably. I really think that it's important that Gothy got another chance, so I'm glad that La Grande Dame also chose her. Michelle comes into the room to deliver the mini challenge, which is to take a mirror and a lipstick and write the names down of your biggest competitor or the biggest booger in the room. I like when they do things like this and kind of poll how everybody's feeling. One, it's just fun for us as an audience to kind of get clued in on the dynamics that are happening there. But then 2, it gives production weaponry to use against the queens. And that can sometimes be fun to see how they'll take somebody who feels the neediest, then being able to give them a delusional edit because they don't understand why they're a needy queen. So we had the prettiest, which Marina won, and honestly that was correct. We had the shadiest, which Hannah won, which sounds correct to me, but Hannah's also just funny. Biggest competition, which was also Marina, also correct. And the neediest drag, which they made us seem that it was Jombers, but it was actually Arancha. And this was someone who needed a boost. So then Michelle, in this beautiful pink pantsuit that she's wearing, tells us that the challenge is a happy endings ball, where they must do 3 categories. Lady Prince Charming. This is a twisted fairy tale hero. She-Vol Queen, which is just something wicked. And Drags to Riches, where they have to take scraps of fabric provided and create something couture, ready to go to a ball. This has so many fun things you could do with it, so many fun storylines you could bring from your prince to your queen to your princess and make every one of those things tie into each other. And I think only one queen did that. I think a lot of people's stories were kind of discombobulated, nothing really matched up, but that's fine. And because Arancha was the neediest queen, she gets an extra 10 seconds to jump at the fabrics, which I thought was smart. I think that's sweet. If you think that somebody needs a little more help with their drag aesthetic, giving them more time in the challenge is probably optimal. The queens run, they gather their material, and Jombers is kind of panini pressed that people thought she was a needy queen. I already said what I had to say last week about Jombers and how I thought that she should have been in the bottom for that weak sauce performance and that really bad runway. And I also think that she should have been in the bottom this week, but we'll get to that. Spoilers. And I thought this was interesting because Arancha was totally fine. She sort of just laughed it off like, yeah, I'm a needy queen. I understand who I am. I understand what I look like. I'm not walking around here like I'm Violet Chachki or anything. She knows what her makeup looks like. She knows what her drag aesthetic looks like. And she's just there to have a good time. And I love that. This hat is sliding. Le Grand Dame flirts with Tia for some fabric. And Tia says what we're all thinking, which is that we would unhinge our jaws. Honestly, that's so me-coded. If you flirt with me, it will work. So let's get into the actual ball because there's a lot of looks to discuss. And my interpretation of a ball is that you are supposed to be passing in whatever that category is. My idea of a ball is that you've got to be immaculate in each category in order to secure a trophy, in order to be at the top. Girl, I don't know if the queens were like, well, it's just UK, so we don't need to invest that much. Or if everyone just misunderstood the prompt. I felt really let down by the first 2 categories, but maybe I'm alone in that. Did I misunderstand Lady Prince Charming? Because when I think about that, I think of like a big hat with a feather, something like what Aquaria wore in her Good Girl runway. With something super fitted, flower somewhere maybe, something with a belt, a really big belt, big puffy pants, really opulent looking shoes, something that evokes Prince, but as a girl. The brief was twisted fairy tale hero. So then my brain goes to, okay, I'm gonna think classics. Let's go to Prince Philip, something like Prince Charming. And we kind of got distressed. I think I misunderstood the assignment because everyone else seemed to get it. They were all on the same page. But let's talk about this. Lady Prince Charming category. First up, we have Hannah Conda. God, it's so hideous. But it's so funny. This was really... I can't even look at it. I'm looking at it on my screen off camera and I just can't. I hate it, but I love it. This is so ugly. It's like if Cosmo and Wanda both had a really strange looking baby with a Dinkelberg. It totally gives the brief. Like, this is giving a super fruity Prince Charming, and I love how much I hate it. Or I guess I hate how much I love it. The details are really fun. I enjoy the pants so much. It's fitted. This is exactly what I think. And it's got a cape and it's got a crown. This is precisely what I think with twisted Prince Charming. Next up is Jombers Blonde. I don't really understand this. It's kind of messy. There's not really a POV. A big parameter for how I judge looks on the runway is if I were to pull it out and just look at the photo, would I know what it is? And I don't think I would know what that's supposed to be. Next up is Arancha Castilla-La Mancha giving us a David Bowie look. And I really enjoy this kind of twist on the challenge. The undergarments are a little bit distracting. I really like the pants. This is very much what I want with the fitted thing. I like the eye patch. The Thunderbolt is so awful. And then all of these disjointed pieces that are making up the rest of it are just kind of messy to me. It feels like a lot of secondhand clothes that were all thrown together and sewn. and it doesn't really give me the prompt either. But it was a fun idea, I think. Next up is Tia Coffee finally giving us something that I think is kind of on the brief, but my God, she looks stunning. I love this hair on her. I love this outfit. It's very fitted. It's exactly what I want. I love that this is a redo of something she did on her original season that did not do well. And so now she gets to show how much she's progressed in her drag aesthetic since then. Great choice. Next up is La Grande Dame, giving us French excellence. I'm obsessed with this look. I'm obsessed with how big the hat is. I love big hats. I love big shapes and silhouettes, and she gave us that. She gave us a lot of weird French sounds on the runway that Nikki Doll tried so hard to make sure that people knew that French people don't do that. And La Grande Dame came in and said, oh. She looked gorgeous. This was one of my favorite looks. Again, I don't really know what this has to do with princes. I think the reference is lost to me, but I didn't really get Prince. Next up, we have Scarlet Envy, giving us a really cool conceptual look. This is a prince who's gone and fought the dragon already, and now they're fully falling apart. Their costume is singed and torn up. Their outfit is in shreds. I love this idea. Maybe this is me just nitpicking and being really weird, and this is not a big deal. Personally, I don't like nipples on the runway in any capacity. It always feels like a mistake. And I don't know if that's just me, and that's probably not anything to nitpick, but it's just not my favorite thing. I love nipples. Scarlett's body looks great. Love this little V. It's very hot. I just don't like nipples on the runway. And so I didn't like that part, but that's maybe something that I need to work out in my brain about appreciating that as a runway piece. But overall, the concept is great. And I like that it's a twist, but I also didn't really get the brief, which was Lady Prince Charming. Next up, we have Kita Minaj giving us a night, giving us a twisted night. This is really like the closest to the brief. I love the makeup. I love this hair. I love these colors juxtapositioned with each other. I love the cod piece, I think is what it's called, that's got an actual bulge in it. It's like, Kita's the other trait of the season. So good. I love this look. This is one of my favorites in this category. Next up is Gothy Kendall, giving another favorite of mine in this category, giving us something that looks very princely to me. It looks very femme and flirty, so it's giving to me Lady Prince Charming. I, again, don't like nipples on the runway. It looks like a mistake. I wish there was a bra or something. I can kind of forgive it a little bit because it's covered by the coat, but then I don't really understand this Miss Britain sash that's right down the middle. That also feels like a mistake or like an extra add-on, like, oh, I need a extra pop of color because I already have a bow in my hair, so I need something here, when that could have just been like a yellow bra. Could have been literally anything else that wasn't just a Miss Britain, Miss America sash, you know what I mean? But I love this print. This is my favorite print on the runway, and if the nipples were not visible, I think this would have been probably my favorite one. Next up, we have Marina Summers giving us a beautiful aquatic prince. This totally makes sense to me. Marina's got this confidence and sex appeal as she walks down the runway. I really love the way that the outfit flows behind her. It gives waves, and that's kind of hard to emulate, that wave feeling, and she really does that. I love her presentation, and I love this look. It's hook, line, sinker, top 3 for me. Last up, we have Theresa May giving us a matador look, and I kind of like this. I think, again, it's not really Prince to me. The colors look nice on her. I just didn't really get the brief either. So in this category, my tops were Tia, Kita, and Marina. So we're gonna keep that in mind. For the next prompt, we have Evil Queen. I'm very excited for this one because I love an Evil Queen storyline. I love the Queen. They're always my favorite ones, and they're always so fierce. We have Hanaconda first out, giving to me, I was getting Into the Woods vibes. That's not one of her reference points. It was giving me Into the Woods meets Regina from Once Upon a Time, and this was one of my favorite looks in this category. It was a very, like, safe kind of high look, but I enjoyed it. Next up is Jomber's Blonde giving us a fire dragon look. Okay, so I want to talk about the biker boots first because I hate those. This is what Cynthia Doll, when she did that Guy Fieri fire look for, I believe it was the Gods of Rock Challenge Part 1. I like the idea of a dragon that's on fire. I don't know if that totally translated. It just looks like a really cool, fun, glittery, fiery look. So she tossed in the apple, I think, to sort of tie it in like, look, I'm the witch. This is me getting nitpicky about details. The evil queen didn't die by fire in Disney's Snow White or in the original fairy tale. She died by boulder in original Snow White, and she died by torture in the fairy tale. So the inclusion of the apple to me draws me to think Snow White, because why else would that be there? And a prop can make or break your costume, and this prop doesn't match the fire at all. What is she gonna do? Roast an apple and make a pie? Why? It's just a weird prop, and I didn't think that was needed. That's me being nitpicky. Next is Arancha giving us a Mean Girls look, and I wanna say, I really appreciated the Regina George-ness of it all. Arancha explained that she didn't really get a chance to explore fashion during her teen years, and she really wants to explore that in her drag aesthetic and get to sort of heal her inner child. And as a guru, Rue would appreciate something like that, but Michelle was the one who heard it, not Rue. I really love this look. I thought it was fun. It's messy as hell, but it's very Arancha. It's kind of ill-fitted, but I like it. It's definitely in my lowest placement in this entire ball, especially in this category. Next up is Tia Coffee giving us a Cherry Valentine look, and I am getting chills already just looking at this and talking about it. Cherry Valentine was a beautiful queen from Tia's season 2 of UK. Cherry wore this look as her promo look and was such a bad bitch. And to see Tia pay homage to her sister and to make her whole presentation about being a badass Cherry Valentine made me so happy. I don't really think of Cherry as a villain, but I still love the look and I love the homage to her sister. Next up, we have La Grande Dame giving us Alien Queen from the Aliens film. I loved this. Holy shit. We gotta talk about this look. Okay, so first off, the look itself is incredible. I love the walking on stilts. It's very Dragula. It's very international seasons that are not judged by Rue, because Rue and Michelle hate when you can't see the face. But I personally think that drag is encompassing of so many things. This is drag, mama. This is stunning. I really love the look. I love the prosthetics that are here. I love that she was drooling on the runway. As a big fan of the Alien films and Alien Isolation, I really enjoyed that she took this attention to detail of drooling all over the runway, making sounds and spitting up and screaming. It was terrifying and beautiful and cool at the same time, because if you've ever watched Aliens, when it gets to the end and you meet the alien queen, she is fierce. But this caliber, showing it to Rue, that drag doesn't just have to be like, I really enjoy that. And I think La Grande Dame was killing it in this category. Anyone who doesn't understand why this is good needs to understand that drag is not just about being a fashion model. And I hope that this sort of breaks barriers for other queens to be able to do things like this in front of Rue, and not just feel like they have to always do glamour. God, I love this look. I love that look. Next up is Scarlet Envy giving us a Mother Earth look. This was beautiful. This is a beautiful look. I love the richness of this shimmery fabric. She looks phenomenal with this big headpiece that's dripping down the side that looks like bark. I get the reference. I understand. I think it pushes it just enough. This was a mid-high safe look for me. Next up is Kita Minaj, giving us a very silly camp look, coming out on this dinosaur dragon creature with the leg hanging off the side and doing that silly, like lifting it up and thinking about throwing it over the side, but just leaving the leg because we don't need to get off. I thought it was really fun. Thought this was so silly and such an interesting way of approaching this challenge. This was a really high look for me. I appreciated the theatricality of it all. I appreciated the puppet and the puppeteering and how fun it was of a presentation. And I think it was just enough. Next up, we have Gothy Kendall giving us a super sleek Cruella meets Evil Queen sort of fashion doll. There are these Disney dolls that Jake and I used to collect, that we did, that you could probably look up if you look up like Disney high fashion villain doll. That's what Gothy was giving. And this honestly was one of my favorite looks in this category because it wasn't overcomplicated. You get what this is supposed to be by looking at it. This is giving Cruella meets Evil Queen. House down boots with this really luxe looking collar, the sleekness of the dress, the hair that's super sculptural, and it goes to show you that you don't need to do something crazy to make a statement, and that's why I liked it. Next up is Marina Summers giving us Dougal. I missed the reference, but I like the through line of the aqua thing. I get that this is some type of monster. You can totally get that, and you can see that. I like the shape of it. Even this weird like panza that she's got going on is so funny to me. I just missed the reference, but I still liked it. Finally, in this category, we have Theresa May giving us an owl storyline with a bunch of smoke everywhere. It was a little bit intense of a look. I love the feathers. It's giving Yzma. I love the hair. I did not watch this far into the season, so I don't understand the owl thing, why that's important to her. But I do like this owl thing. I think nothing feels more villainous to me than smoke coming out of a staff. Yes, the smoke filled up the entire room. They couldn't see her really too much at a certain point, but I almost feel like they put a filter over RuPaul to be like, we can't see you. Because there's one point where it shows Ru and she's totally purple, but then it pans to the other judges and they're all fine. So I almost feel like it was extra justification to stick her in the bottom by being like, look, Ru couldn't see her, even though the others were fine and were not purple. It's a good look. This was a very strong villainous look, and I think the element of the smoke brings it to that next place. I did not think this was as bad as they tried to make it out to be. So in this particular category, my tops were Tia, Le Grand Dame, and Gothy. So far, Tia has won 2 of the categories for me. Now we get 2 drags to riches, the final thing where they had to construct something. This is always my favorite part, to see how their creativity gets them either to a win or to a bottom placement. Starting us out, we have Hanaconda, and on my notes, I literally wrote, yuck. This is so bad. But I love it. Why do I like this? The silhouette is so cute. Holy crap, this silhouette is so cute. I love the hair. I like this really tiny Ariana Grande ponytail that's up at the top with this wave of hair that almost gives like Giselle from Enchanted. And then the dress itself is very Giselle with the mice crawling all over it. These weird colors are so tacky and ugly. The problem is here, the bust line. It's a pointy bust line, which is odd. You don't typically see that without straps. And so it should have just been a sweetheart cup line. Not that that would have made it any better, but that's a problem. The glitter tulle right here is bunched in a weird way. The belt on the skirt is actually very nice, and I love the panel at the front. It's very classic. This looks like it could have been good if the colors were correct. If the idea is you take scraps like Cinderella and create a dress from nothing that could go to a ball, I think this kind of hits the mark in a weird camp way. Am I like crazy for that? Because in a way, it's like, well, this girl who wasn't really a princess constructed this dress together with her mice friends, and now she's gonna go to the ball. She looks like a hot mess, but she's gonna go because she made this dress from all the scraps that she had. That's the way that I kind of interpreted it, but maybe I'm crazy and I'm being an apologist for no reason for Hannah. Next up is Jonbers Blonde, and I wrote messy in my notes. I don't particularly like the hair. I wish that it was sleeked back. I enjoy the idea of this sort of like drunk girl at the club wearing an ill-fitting dress. I do really like this purse thing that she made. It's so cute. I love the lining on the skirt. That is one of my favorite parts of it all. This doesn't really give ball. Again, it gives like nightclub. And then the stockings give nightclub. The shoes don't match anything about it. And I know she said there was a very specific reference, which I didn't get. And maybe that's just because I'm not a fashion girl, but I did not like this. This was one of my least favorite looks in this category. So for me, I wrote messy in 2 of Jonber's categories, and I wrote big question mark next to her She-Evil villain. So for me, Jonber's was the bottom this week. But more on that in a minute. I do love the makeup though. I will give credit where credit's due. Jonber's looks beautiful in the face. Next up is Arancha giving us a goth prom look. It's very like Hayley Williams dyed her hair pink and then went to a prom being a goth in the early 2000s. I like the idea of this, but it didn't really give me ball either in the same way that Jonber's didn't. And while that's cute, it wasn't the brief. So this is now 3 for 3, where it was like you had such a fun idea, but it just wasn't there. Next up is Tia Kofi giving us another red look, and I do enjoy this red theme throughout the entire ball. I like the idea of this look, but let's be honest, there's not really a lot happening here. This is a bunched up t-shirt tube top, which doesn't really work for me. Then the skirt part has the same belt problem that she made in that green number in season 2. I hate this sequin belt that she's made over the skirt. I love the flowiness of the skirt and I love the hair, but this definitely looks like this is my second dress that I've ever made in my life. My first one was on my first season of Drag Race, and now this is my second one. It follows a lot of the same errors that happened in that first dress. Next up is La Grande Dame, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like this look. To badly quote Trixie Mattel, your lame was lame. I have lame in my drag closet right now. I could go pull out the dress that I made of this exact material. I think I still have a panel still of lame that I have not used. Lame is a really easy fabric to work with. A dummy could touch lame and make it turn into something decent, but it's tacky looking. Lame is not forgiving if you try to put too many seams into it. It bunches really easy, but you could use that to your advantage depending on what you want to make. I don't like the bra shape, and I don't really like how it goes up into a point. I think the rounded part at the bottom is not super flattering, and I don't like that on the nude illusion. I don't really get it, and I hate to be like, I don't get it, but I don't really get what the nude illusion has to do with the rest of it, and I wish that was a different color. It's just close enough to her skin tone that it looks like nude illusion, but it's just off that it doesn't. And it just doesn't really make sense with the context of the outfit. I love the flow and I love the slit and I like everything that's happening on the side with all the little ruffling details. I love the hair, I love the makeup, I love the elements of it, but it just really falls apart from the waist up to me. This was kind of a miss in my opinion, but I love the collar. On the same level that I feel like about Hannah, this does feel very like someone just took scraps and made something to go to the ball. But I think this looks more like red carpet than going to a ball. It kind of misses that grandiosity of a ball for me. Like if we're thinking like the big princess ball, it misses the mark on that end. Not trying to be a Mac bitch here. Next up is Scarlett, and I wrote in my notes, how, in all caps. Where did this fabric come from? And how is there so much of it that she was able to make this beautiful Cinderella gown? It's so pretty. Oh my God, it's so pretty and so well constructed and so, oh, it's just beautiful. The bust line is pretty. The puffs are gorgeous. It's giving Enchanted. It's giving Cinderella. It's giving Trinity. I saw you make this dress on All-Star 6 and I'm gonna do it even better. God, she looks so good and I don't know how she made that, but it's immaculate. My only problem is that it's a little too literal. In a princess challenge like this, it's never about doing a cosplay of something that exists in the real world. It's about taking that concept and funneling your drag perspective into it. This is just a little too literal for me. I don't know if it expresses Scarlett in the way that the same previous two did. You have this knight that's all shredded up after just facing the dragon, and then the She-Evil villain being this Mother Earth. So how does this tie into Scarlett? I would have done like a bubble princess. I would have even gone to like a Glinda type look, which is also kind of what this is giving, is like a blue Glinda. I would have leaned more into the Glinda bubble thing and maybe had that be a little more of a point of view, done a little more detailing on this dress. Even if she had managed to come out with the bubble gun, you know, that she used before, or do like a bubble wand so that the bubbles come out and then she appears, or that fabric that she used when she first came out, if that was circular shaped and it looked like a bubble, and when she dropped it, I think it would have maybe sold it a little bit more, because then I think it would have leaned more into this is blue Glinda. But again, I don't necessarily think that a ball is about doing a cosplay, especially a princess ball. It's about funneling yourself. And this is immaculate and it's so well made, and that should be rewarded and critiqued positively. But is this her? I don't know. Next is Kita Minaj giving us a very nice outfit. I love the silhouette and I love the shape. I love, love, love this cape that goes all the way to the ground in this gorgeous luxe fabric. I love this black dress that's underneath. What I don't love and what I'm not really responding to is this green lace piping that's been done on the bust and on the cape. The green feels like a nice concept, but juxtapositioned with this really shimmery gold, it doesn't quite work for me. I wish it was a different color or not there at all. It doesn't quite work for me. I'm nitpicking right now. I'm nitpicking so hard, and I'm sorry. Don't hate me. I also don't know if this gives ball. I think this gives Met Gala, and that's fine. It's a beautiful look. I don't know if I got ball from it, but it does give very like dark lady, and I enjoy a different approach to taking scraps and making a ball look. It has that grandiosity, and I love it, especially on the sleeves. The sleeves are like big nut. This was very high for me. Then we have Gothy Kendall giving us super cute pastel colors in a really classic silhouette. Again, to me, this doesn't really give ball. I think this gives the Spice Girls are going out to the discotheque. It's cute, and I really love the colors, and I like the presentation. It's very well constructed. I don't really love the straps here, but I love the gloves and the little drapey part that's on the glove. I like the asymmetry of the bottom of the dress. It's very cute. This is a decent look. And I like the clean silhouette. Next up, we have Marina Summers giving us my favorite look in this category, this beautiful mermaid dress, really taking this aquatic theme all the way to the end of the ball categories. Beautiful, sleek, perfect pageanty hair. It's got that grandiosity that I want from a ball. It gives me a mermaid princess who came to the land and is now going to go to the most extravagant ball that there ever was and show everyone that she is a diplomat between the ocean world and the human world. I really love that it's sort of giving like 80s glamour too, which if you look at Little Mermaid, it's very 80s inspired. When I think 80s fashion, I think this particular color, and she looks incredible. Again, how did she make this? How was there enough fabric to make this dress? And one thing I've mentioned before that I love about Marina is that she's able to make herself look huge. She looks statuesque, but she's this big. How? Finally, in this category is Theresa May, and on my notes, I wrote, woof. God, this is bad. I can't even really talk about this in a positive way. I like the cut. Okay, JK, I love the cut. I love the shape of this. This is the exact problem that I had with Hannah. The shape is perfect. It gives me grandiosity, it gives me ball, but like in a weird time period. It sort of gives me a little conservative. It gives me like a conservative queen ball. I like the idea about it. The shape is nice. The cut of the top is lovely with this princess waistline, and then these big grand puff sleeves that go all the way down to the wrist. Something looks very Latina about this, but my God, this metallic fabric is hideous. And I'm really upset that she chose this. This makes me upset. You know, now that I'm looking at it, it's a lot more saloon than ball, so it does miss the mark. This was a really bad look, and this catapulted her into the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna give a controversial opinion that y'all are probably gonna get mad at me about. This was a bottom 4 week for me. My top two, don't get mad at me, were Tia and Marina. Tia because she had this red theme throughout every one of her looks. Marina for doing the aquatic thing. Yeah. La Grande Dame was great. I love that alien look, probably more than anything else. The other two assignments didn't quite meet the mark for me. I loved Kita. The middle look was my favorite. The first one was stunning, but that last look wasn't quite giving me ball either. It was giving Met Gala. On top of the fact that I thought the second look wasn't really giving villain. I thought it looked really fun, but I wasn't sure if it gave me villain. And then my bottom four was Hannah, Jombers for missing the mark pretty much in every single one of them with the exception of the middle, but that prop took me out of it. Arantxa for just, I mean, you have eyes. And Teresa for missing the mark a couple different times as well. However, for me, it was Arantxa and Hannah. Despite me loving Hannah's looks for being so chaotic and messy, they were not good. As far as a ball is concerned, they flubbed so epically on the fashion part. Even if I bought it, I didn't like that I bought it. And I don't want to buy it. I want to return it. This is one of those dolls that I would buy and I'd get home and take it out of the box and I'd be like, this was a mistake. I need to bring it back to Walmart immediately. I wouldn't have even been mad if Teresa was a third option. Jombers didn't need to be in the bottom, like up for elimination, but should have at least gotten some critiques for missing the mark so much in this whole ball. And for me, the only through line people that told a story every single runway were Marina and Tia. During the quasi-untucked, Scarlett revealed her strategy that she is going to eliminate whoever the strongest one is. And I gotta know, did she not see Morgan in All Stars 3? I also personally feel like production is absolutely going to use that against one of the power players later and put Scarlett in a top placement knowing how she'll vote. For the lip sync, we finally got a Cascada song. I love Every Time We Touch. This is a great song. As someone who was going to perform this in the nightclub and did this in a medley once, this is a really difficult song and people might not realize it, but the need, want you in my life, and the way that she alternates between need and want, like every other verse, it's really hard to get your mouth around those, like need you in my life, want you in my life, need you again, no, it's want you. And you could see that the girls were struggling to remember if it was need or want in each one of the lyrics. And honestly, it made me feel really vindicated to know that other people have struggled with this song. Because when I performed this, I thought, am I just a horrible drag queen that doesn't know her words? Like, am I really that bad? But seeing people on the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race struggling too made me feel like I'm not alone. This was a wild lip sync. This was almost like the Venga bus. Just wild. Someone on Twitter said Le Grand Dame let her intrusive thoughts win. And honestly, I feel like that's exactly what happened. Le Grand Dame wins and chooses to send home Arantxa. I agree. I thought her presentation both weeks was not the strongest in the universe. I didn't ever think that Arantxa was going to go super far, but I was really hoping to see more. It is kind of a bummer that she wasn't quite there, ready for prime time, ready for RuPaul. I love her story and I love that she's expressing her inner child and healing that through drag. I think that's really powerful and important. I loved her attitude towards being eliminated and really just didn't let it get to her. Next week is a branding/acting challenge. And they called it immersive experiences. I'm not really sure how everybody's gonna do. I am a little worried for Scarlett because in situations like this, she tends to kind of infuse like a Valley Girl kind of fakeness into things she does. And I hope she avoids that. I think that Tia might do pretty good. If Tia leans into the dossier thing that the judges have been hinting at all season that they're like loving, I think that that could do really well for her. But what did you think of this episode? What did you think about the categories? Do you think I'm dead wrong? If I overanalyze too much, that's just me, honey. I really love what Le Grand Dame did. And I think that queen look was the best thing in the entire night. I just thought the other two categories weren't quite at the mark. And while I loved what Kita did in the middle and the first category, even the third category to some extent, I felt like it was like, we're at a Nosferatu beach party and you're an anglerfish. It was good. It was a nice look. I just didn't feel like it was the brief. Anyway, that's my opinion. If you like this video, I do a lot of Drag Race videos. I do a lot of Drag Race content. I mostly focus on gaming, so if you follow, know that I post a lot of everything, a whole lot of everything. But I will see you next week for the next one. Thank you for watching. See you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.